Yo champs! Back again on Wrestle Scope Daily with the latest WWE talk. Don't miss out, subscribe, and let's jump in. The arena shifted from a roaring frenzy to stunned silence in an instant as a lone figure, hood up, climbed the War Games structure like he owned the night. A super kick, a stomp, and the babyface fell into a wall of chaos and anticipation, leaving the crowd gasping. For weeks, fans debated theories online, posted shaky phone footage, and speculated endlessly. Tonight, the whispers became louder and the narrative took a sharp turn. What if the man in black wasn't just a rumor or a temporary twist, but someone the entire industry thought had vanished from this story? What if the man who once called himself Dean Ambrose returned through the locker room door, reigniting the energy of past alliances and setting the stage for a reunion that would make headlines for years to come? The emotional weight of history. Imagine the emotional impact if the man who shaped the Shield's identity simply walked back into WWE and reasserted his presence. The moment was less about spectacle and more about history, relationships, and unfinished business. Raw's backstage cameras caught Seth Rollins pacing nervously, Roman Reigns staring silently out of a window, and commentators trying to maintain order. In a dark corridor, a hooded figure leaned against a wall, quiet and deliberate. As the hood came off, the posture, shoulders, and gait told a story louder than words. Roman's jaw tightened, Seth's breathing shifted, and the man's smile suggested he had been holding back for years. 3 words hung in the air, delivered simply, "I'm back." The arena erupted, but the impact was grounded in decades of storylines, friendship, and loyalty. The chaos of Raw. Earlier in the night, ringside chaos had set the tone. Cody Rhodes struggled to recover, CM Punk lay dazed and bleeding, and a heel faction walked away with a questionable victory. Clips of the masked attacker spread across social media, sparking theories and excitement. Reporters scrambled, insiders whispered, and fans speculated wildly. The immediate questions were clear: who did it and why? That gap between action and explanation became the stage for a more layered story, revealing that Jon Moxley was the man behind the mask, returning not just for a spectacle, but to confront the moral and emotional stakes of the locker room. Rebuilding the story. Frame by frame. The narrative reconstruction began the following night on Raw. Backstage cameras showed Seth pacing with tension, Roman standing silent but watchful, and the mysterious figure lingering in the shadows. As he removed his hood, the camera captured posture and movement that conveyed decades of unspoken history. Roman nodded once, Seth's expression shifted between surprise and unresolved anger, and Jon's slight smile suggested patience and purpose. The confrontation was subtle but charged, a quiet collision of old loyalties and personal history. The line that landed wasn't theatrical. "You never learned to shut up, did you?" This framed the story not as a random act of violence, but as a commentary on accountability, loyalty, and unfinished business. The motivation behind the return. Moxley's actions were complex, personal, and morally gray. He wasn't seeking glory or a title shot. He was confronting what he perceived as fractured principles within the locker room. Punk had become a polarizing figure, sometimes pushed by circumstance rather than consequence, and Moxley's return was about asserting that actions have meaning and stories carry weight. In addition, the emotional undertones of fractured friendships were central. Moxley left under strained circumstances, and returning to a world where Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins had risen to prominence forced him to navigate old bonds and lingering resentments. Every action, from the masked attack to verbal confrontations, carried layers of history and consequence. The triangle of personality, the reunion of the Shield, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Jon Moxley, was inherently explosive. Roman represents controlled authority, Seth embodies calculated chaos, and Moxley is volatility incarnate. Bringing them together produces natural tension, storytelling, and visual drama. The reunion isn't automatic celebration, It's a collision of egos, motivations, and unresolved history. Roman's controlled, decisive words contrast with Seth's rhetorical barbs and rapid-fire manipulation, while Moxley's raw energy introduces unpredictability. This triangle creates space for storytelling that's both intimate and epic, highlighting personal stakes alongside broader narrative consequences. Cinematic micro moments. The strength of this angle lies in subtle, cinematic storytelling. Small scenes, Roman silently handing Moxley a shield patch, Seth expressing unresolved frustration, Moxley's slow removal of his hood, carry immense narrative weight. Hallway conversations, shared glances, and understated gestures communicate history and tension more powerfully than promo segments alone. Social media clips of 6 to 12 seconds, capturing these tiny beats, can become viral, emphasizing authenticity and emotional resonance. Moments like these make the reunion feel lived in rather than forced, connecting fans to the characters' shared history and conflicts. In-ring strategy and match structure. If this storyline peaks at a War Games or Stadium match, the Shield reunion provides endless possibilities for match dynamics. Tag sequences should highlight synchronized teamwork, signature finishers, and strategic double teams, showing the chemistry of three men who know each other instinctively. Roman stabilizes, Seth orchestrates, and Moxley ignites chaos. One-on-one matches such as Seth versus Punk build personal stakes, while Roman faces top-tier opposition for spectacle. Moxley can intersect with unpredictable challengers, creating tension and surprise. The storytelling emphasis is on personal motivations, teamwork dynamics, and psychology rather than over-reliance on match brutality. Building narrative. Our short-term storytelling focuses on backstage confrontations, legal complications, and interpersonal conflict. Week 1 shows Moxley revealing his identity and motivations while Punk reacts. Week 2 escalates with a no disqualification tag brawl, teasing cracks in the Shield. Week 3 highlights Roman's strategic interventions, emphasizing his quiet authority. Week 4 sees Moxley complicate babyface victories, creating tension and stakes. Week 5 builds toward one-on-one matches, setting up personal rivalries. Week 6 culminates in a pay-per-view where the Shield achieves a hard-fought victory, but the final scene is quiet, reflective, and unresolved, maintaining tension for future storylines. Long-term potential and character development. This reunion is a launchpad for long-term storytelling rather than nostalgia. Roman can pivot into championship pursuits, Seth becomes a catalyst of chaos and manipulation, and Moxley operates on a morally gray axis as a mercenary or anti-hero. Heels will attempt to delegitimize Moxley, casting him as opportunistic or petty, while social media and backstage rumors can be leveraged to enhance narrative tension. Small, authentic moments, gestures, reactions, and interactions ensure that every storyline beat has emotional and psychological weight. This approach balances spectacle with character-driven storytelling. The power of micro storytelling. The best angles are built on minor human moments. Roman's stoic nod, Seth's conflicted laugh, Moxley's deliberate movements, and their collective gestures communicate more than words. Vertical social clips, short teaser footage, and slow-motion highlights can draw attention to the drama without oversaturating the audience. These details make the reunion feel real, lived in, and consequential. They transform a headline-making return into a multi-layered narrative that engages fans across multiple platforms. Conclusion: a reunion with purpose. Jon Moxley's return, the unmasking of the mystery attacker, and the Shield reunion create a character-driven, morally complex story. It's not about nostalgia, it's about unfinished business, loyalty, and navigating a world changed by time, power, and personal growth. Through careful storytelling, micro moments, and layered match design, this angle can deliver memorable moments, social media engagement, and long-term narrative potential. Fans get high-stakes storytelling with real emotional depth, and the reunion sets the stage for weeks, months, and even years of compelling content. The story has begun, the cage closes, and the narrative is alive.